Hello guys, welcome to my series on thermochemistry. This video is going to be about enthalpy, and it is part 1 of 3 in my thermochemistry series. So what is enthalpy? In short, enthalpy is a quantity that represents the total energy in a system. Pressure and thermal energy are both included in enthalpy, but in thermochemistry we are most concerned about thermal energy, specifically the change in thermal energy. Enthalpy can be measured absolutely, but chemists often measure a system's relative energy or change in energy, symbolized by delta H. Delta is the Greek letter that means change in, and H is the symbol for entropy. So let's start off with an endothermic reaction. If a process is endothermic, thermal energy is absorbed from the environment into the system, and it means that there is more energy in the bonds of the product than there is energy in the bonds of the reactant. Energy needs to therefore be put into the reactants to form the higher energy bonds in the products. An example of this is a cold pack. When you combine the reactants in the cold pack, a new product is formed, and in that reaction, heat is absorbed, making it cold. The melting of water is an example of an endothermic process. Remember that it is a physical process and not a reaction. As you can see, heat has to be put into the ice in order to melt it and change its physical properties. I've written two ways of showing an enthalpy change. One where the change in enthalpy is written separately, and one where it is written as a part of the expression. If written separately, a positive enthalpy shows an endothermic change. On the other hand, an exothermic change or reaction is the opposite of an endothermic reaction, obviously. Heat is instead released from the reactants. This is because the energy in the bonds of the reactants is greater than the energy in the bonds of the products. The opposite. This extra energy is released in the form of heat. For example, burning wood is an exothermic reaction, where large quantities of heat are released. The freezing of water is also exothermic. As you can see, the enthalpy is negative, and it's on the right side of the expression, meaning that energy is released when you freeze water. Let's look at a more complicated reaction, the combustion of methane. In all perfect combustion reactions, this is important to know, some sort of hydrocarbon reacts with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water, and a large amount of heat. You can see by the really large but negative delta H, this is an exothermic reaction. Let's look at an example problem. What if we were asked how much heat was released? This is dependent on how much of the reactant we have, and you can see in the problem we have 3.00 moles of methane. If you're familiar with stoichiometry problems, then you'll probably find this simple. Just set up a ratio of moles to kilojoules using the reaction, and you can solve for the amount of heat released. So, looking at the reaction, since there's 1 mole of methane and it yields 802.3 kilojoules, 3 moles of methane divided by 1 mole of methane times negative 802.3 kilojoules of heat. That means 3.00 moles of methane yields negative 2,407 kilojoules. Let's look at a more complicated example. What if we were given mass instead of an amount, or like moles? Well, just use the molar mass to convert the mass into moles. You've probably done this in Stoic before. 64.00 grams of oxygen divided by 16.00 grams of oxygen, which is its molar mass, will yield you 1 mole of oxygen. And so, that mass of oxygen will yield you negative 1,604 kilojoules of heat. Enthalpy for formation. What is it? It is the enthalpy change of the system when a substance is formed from its constituent elements. Constituent elements meaning the individual elements that make up the compound. For example, in carbon dioxide, the constituent elements would be carbon and oxygen. Here's a table of the enthalpies of formation of various compounds. As you can see, however, there aren't any elements listed, and that's because elements have enthalpies of formation of 0. That's an important thing to remember. And elements have enthalpies of formation of 0. For any reaction, its enthalpy of formation can be found using the following equation. The first delta H means the enthalpy of the reaction. The sideways M is the Greek letter sigma, and it means summation. the N means moles, and the delta H of F means heat of formation. Looking at the equation, the enthalpy of the reaction equals the sum of the enthalpies of formation per mole of product minus the sum of the enthalpies of formation per mole of reactant. That was long and convoluted, so remember this. Products minus reactants. It's always products minus reactants. Hopefully looking at an example problem will clear this up. Find the enthalpy of this reaction. 2 moles of carbon monoxide plus 1 mole of oxygen yields 2 moles of carbon dioxide. What is the enthalpy of this reaction? First, we have to look at the table for our enthalpies of formation. There is carbon monoxide and there is carbon dioxide. We don't need to find oxygen because it's an element, and therefore its enthalpy of formation is 0. So to start off, we sum the products. There's only one product, carbon dioxide, and there are 2 moles of it, so 2 times negative 393.5. Then we subtract the reactants. There are 2 moles of carbon dioxide, so 2 times negative 110.5. And there is only 1 mole of oxygen, but its enthalpy of formation is 0, and so we multiply by 0 there. Solve the equation, and we get that the enthalpy of the reaction is negative 566.0 kilojoules per mole of the reaction run. The last thing we're going to look at is Hess's law. There are 3 parts to Hess's law, as you see here. When reversing the reaction, the sign of the enthalpy must flip as well, meaning from positive to negative or negative to positive. Looking at the example, the first reaction or process is the melting of ice. As we saw earlier, this was an endothermic reaction, but when we flip the reaction, it becomes exothermic, and thus its enthalpy must change sign. This seems kind of obvious based on what we saw earlier, but for more complicated reactions, flipping the reaction means you have to change the sign. When multiplying the reaction by a factor, the enthalpy must scale with the factor. Again, we have the melting of ice, but this time, instead of 1 mole of ice being melted, we have 3 moles of ice being melted. Therefore, the enthalpy change of this 3 mole reaction has to be multiplied by 3 as well. So instead of 6 kilojoules being absorbed, 18 kilojoules are absorbed. Finally, when summing multiple step reactions, the enthalpy change of the net reaction is equal to the sum of the step enthalpies. Let's look at this reaction here, these step reactions here. Nitrogen dioxide plus another nitrogen dioxide yields nitrogen trioxide plus nitrogen monoxide. That step reaction has an enthalpy of negative 10 kilojoules per mole. The second step of the reaction is nitrogen trioxide plus carbon monoxide yields nitrogen dioxide and carbon dioxide. This reaction has an enthalpy of 8 kilojoules per mole. Now, we want the reaction at the bottom. Nitrogen dioxide plus carbon monoxide yields nitrogen monoxide and carbon dioxide. We want to know what the enthalpy is. We can see here that when we sum these 2 top reactions, things cancel out. The things that cancel out are on opposite sides of the yield sign, the arrow. You can see that the nitrogen dioxides cancel out and the nitrogen trioxides cancel out. And then we can nicely sum the reactions together to get the bottom reaction. And therefore, we have to sum the individual step enthalpies to get the total enthalpy of the reaction we want. And so negative 10 plus 8 yields negative 2 kilojoules per mole. That is the answer. And that is all for this video. Part 2 of this series will be about entropy. I hope you learned about enthalpy, and thank you guys for watching.